Tanzania across Africa for market expansion. And our topics will include cross-cultural capabilities, leveraging artificial intelligence, global mindsets and success, US market entry for African entrepreneurs. For a start, I would like to welcome Doug, who is our CEO for Global Chamber, who will open for us this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nima. Greatly appreciate you pulling this together. Also, I and we all appreciate your leadership on some very important fundamental concepts around leadership, around creating an export mentality, and around creating a future that is populated by young people and other motivated leaders who want to change the world, impact the world, grow the world, improve the world, and improve our own communities. That's how we get to improving the world, when we improve our own communities. And you are a great leader around being driven to make those changes and pulling us here together with great speakers. The topic is critically important. Small and medium-sized enterprises dominate not just Tanzania or Africa, but also the world in terms of employees, in terms of revenue created. Historically, SMEs have had a hard time expanding their business across borders and especially across the world. Technology now enables us to export. In addition, logistics and other systems are in place, including trade agreements. The AFCFTA is a critically important step for the continent of Africa to begin to maneuver and facilitate the ability to trade across borders. These are critical steps, and now is the time for leaders in Africa to step forward and take accountability and responsibility to have an export mentality, to lead their business across borders. This is something that the rest of the world also is challenged by. This is not an easy problem or an easy challenge. It's one that requires knowledge and education, and it requires working together. We need to work together. We cannot do global business by ourselves, certainly not very effectively. We need to work together. So Nima, thank you for pulling us together here, and let's begin the program. Would you like to introduce the first speaker? Oh, Nima, are you there?
Yes,
Sarah,
I'm here.
You are here, Sarah?
I'm here, yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Some interruption. So I would like to welcome you, Sarah, to talk to the women in Africa and the world in general. You're welcome.
Thank you, Nima, for the introduction. Let me share my screen really fast, pull up my presentation. Well, thank you so much, Nima, and I'm so excited to be here to discuss how you can make the most out of AI solutions for your exporting business. So let's talk about AI. So at its core, AI is about machines mimicking cognitive functions, such as learning and problem solving. These are tasks traditionally associated with the human mind. It's the fusion of algorithms, data, and computational power that can be leveraged to solve real business problems. And AI is more of a broad term that has these smaller, more specific capabilities that fit under that umbrella. And each AI capability can drive powerful business outcomes. For example, machine learning can take in your business and customer data and create personalized customer experiences or recommend products to your customers. Natural language processing allows you to automate content generation and enhance customer experience with chatbots. This is just to give you an idea of all the powerful technology and capabilities that live within the AI ecosystem. Now, one very powerful AI capability I want to emphasize is generative AI. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new content based on patterns and data it's been trained on. You can simply give generative AI a prompt, and it creates something brand new from that input. Generative AI can create text, images, code, and even music. You've probably heard of tools like ChatGPT or DALL-E, which can create text and images, but what does this mean for your exporting business? For exporting, you can feed generative AI a description of the product you export, and it can generate marketing copy tailored to specific markets. You can customize and design your products to fit within the needs of all of your different markets. You can generate proposals or internal documents, all with the help of generative AI to better run your exporting business more effectively and efficiently. Now let's take a closer look into one of these use cases. Generative AI can transform the way you approach your market strategy and research by developing a detailed market entry strategy and providing actionable research insights. This all starts with your market and business data. Generative AI can process real-time market data about your competitors, pricing trends, customer preferences, and even economic sentiment. This means you're always equipped with the latest insights to stay ahead of the curve. Now, combining real-time market data with your business data, whether it's information about your products, services, any compliance or legal constraints, or revenue streams, generative AI can quickly analyze all of your input data. And generative AI will process your combined market and business information to generate powerful insights, such as competitor analysis, real-time monitoring, regional opportunity identification, and expansion strategy development. These insights help you build stronger data-driven strategies. This allows you to craft more effective market strategies and identify new opportunities for growth. You'll optimize your business processes, improve timing for market entry, reduce costs, and increase efficiency. This also helps with risk mitigation, allowing you to make more informed decisions that lead to higher profit margins and productivity. So I hope this has left you feeling excited about the possibility of using generative AI. When considering leveraging AI solutions, I encourage you all to consider adopting these solutions in a strategic fashion. Diving deep into your strategic objectives as a business and how AI can support you in meeting your KPIs, identifying any pain points or opportunities within your business, and how AI solutions might help you be able to solve them. You then find the best AI solutions to deliver your highest value use cases, and align and organize your data to be used by an AI solution. And finally, successfully implementing, governing, and delivering your AI solution to a production environment. So I encourage you all really to adopt this methodology. Start by identifying your high-value use cases, and then get started with some simple, easy-to-use generative AI solutions. Here are a few of my favorite solutions. You might be familiar with some of these, but I encourage you all, if you've never used generative AI solutions, I encourage you all to check out these different options. ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are really great solutions for content creation, especially with text generation. DALL-E and Midjourney generate images, which are great to include in a blog post or marketing copy. Fathom and Otter AI help you capture information from client meetings and help set you up for next steps and be able to follow up with your clients. HeyGen allows you to create avatars to give presentations. And Connect the Dots and Evie AI are great for networking and helping you grow your audience on LinkedIn. So I hope this has been a helpful presentation for you all. And again, if you have any questions for me, please reach out. I'm happy to help you with your AI journey and helping you and supporting you with using AI solutions across your exporting business. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. we will please drop your questions in the chat box. We'll shift to another speaker, then coming back to you with questions. Yes, thank you very much.
So everyone, I got a message from Nima that she's having network problems. So Doug, I guess we'll be needing to supporting her with the event. I think next one is Professor Roberto Ancis. Welcome, Professor Ancis.
Okay, great. Professor Ancis, thank you for joining. And before we move too much further away from Sarah's component, I just want to re-emphasize for everyone the importance of artificial intelligence. When several of us met with one of our key technology members at the beginning of the year, we asked, what are some of the things that you're working on in 2024? And the response was one thing: artificial intelligence. And I think that tone and message has been repeated over and over for the smartest people among us around the importance of artificial intelligence and not waiting to have things evolve much further before you jump in for your business. So if you have not incorporated artificial intelligence into your business yet, highly recommend you begin to do planning for 2025 to be able to do that. Sarah is an extraordinary resource to do that. She works globally. And as she explained, some of the value proposition around artificial intelligence in small and medium-sized business is a very high value proposition. Later this month, Global Chamber will be rolling out some tools for our own team and also members to be able to use. Perhaps this month would be fairly rudimentary, but over the next several months, we're hoping and expecting those tools will assist our members to be more successful internationally. And similarly, I hope you're incorporating not only that, but other activities within your own business. Sarah, thank you. I'd like to now do two things. One, introduce Professor Roberto Ancis, and then also Professor, if you would like to guide us on how to handle Q&A as you begin your presentation, and if it makes sense to have Q&A for Sarah now or later, that would be very important. Before you do that, and I'll turn it over to you in a moment, I'd like to first say that Professor Roberto Ancis is one of those legendary leaders in global business, originally from Italy. It turns out both he and I are chemical engineers. We both worked for very large fluorine-based chemistry companies, in his case, Mont Edison, and in my case, DuPont. We did not know each other for all of our career until Global Chamber came around. And one of the, I think, interesting aspects of that is both of us jumped into global trade in even bigger ways. He was very involved with trade before, as I was. And now both of us are dedicated to helping SMBs everywhere in the world to be more successful. From his original base in Milan, Italy, he now has, through his company, a variety of locations, and he works globally, including in Africa. He's developed a partnership with Nima in Tanzania, and they've been doing, I think, weekly programs on helping entrepreneurs get to the next level. So, Professor, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the expertise that you bring to the table today. And please guide us a little bit on how you think we should be handling Q&A, please.
Thank you so much, Doug, for the very kind introduction. Thank the Global Chamber. In my opinion, of 50 years in international business, the most powerful, kind, and effective organization in the world. And all of us are dedicated to helping you out, Doug, in whatever your objectives and the Global Chamber objectives are. With the heroes behind the screen, the famous Cesar and Elisa, that actually provide an incredible support. And thank to the speakers and thank to Nima, Ms. Manley. Ms. Manley has been a pleasure to work with for the last 4 weeks. We've addressed about 120 different African women entrepreneurs. Many of them, I see them here today. And it's a pleasure to, again, proceed forward with advisory in terms how can you come to this wonderful country called the United States of America with a very creative product and already some incredibly great brands African here in the country. So thank you so much of everyone. What I would suggest is that place your questions in the chat room. I will say we'll do the best way to handle it so we don't get lost at the end would be after my presentation, in 10 minutes, we'll actually evaluate the questions for both Sarah, Ms. Cornett, and myself. Then we'll proceed with Patricia and you, and then we'll ask them questions. So they will select the questions so they can be more focused. And certainly Doug can be the reviewer of the chat question to ask them. So again, thanks again for being here today. And let me share you my screen, open up my PowerPoint, and then go back here and share my screen. And Sarah, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay, so the important thing is, again, as I said today, the meeting has been organized by Integrated Empowerment Initiative. Nima Mileli is the director of the organization and the Global Chamber, with Doug present and some of the other Global Chamber staff behind the screen. It's really important to all of you. And when you ask a professor to create a presentation for 10 minutes, of course, the professor will prepare for 2 hours. So there will be a lot of stuff that we will not address, we'll just skim. So write down my email address. That is very simple, ceo@coachingprofessors.com. Then send me an email or send an email to the Global Chamber or to Nima, and I'll send you copies of the presentation today. So getting involved immediately in this year, when we look at African women entrepreneurs, what are the 4 elements that we need to address when we look at expanding foreign markets? The first question is, where do I go? And of course, today in the world, you have both the United States of America, one of the largest free economy in the country. And then you have the European Unions, and then you get other different environments. So the question is, where should I go first? And I'll make a case in about 30 seconds why the US. Then the question is, how do we enter the chosen foreign market? And there are actually 7 ways to enter the foreign market. And I'll discuss very briefly what they are. One of the most important elements in the what we're covering today is to enter the US with many products in Africa, such as food and spices, etc. You need to qualify your product for entry. Otherwise, you can ship them, but they will be blocked at the customs for months and months without being able to reach your customer. So today we'll cover these 4 elements. And in the future, please be aware that there is funding and finance available for women in Africa and who are entrepreneurs, et cetera, et cetera. Nima is going to be setting up an additional webinar that will actually address how do we mean African women, how they can cover the expense to reach the foreign markets. So let me make a case for the US. These are numbers which are absolutely incredible. Like, for example, why should an African entrepreneur or any global entrepreneur want to come to the US? We're talking about consumer spending, $17.8 trillion. Think about how many zeros there are into it. And there was, after COVID, in about 22, 23. So today the number is increasing at the rate of about 10, 15% a year. The GDP of the US is $27 trillion. Total imports in the US, 3 trillion. Billions have disappeared. Now, the thing that's really interesting for African American entrepreneurs and for African entrepreneurs that want to enter the American market, I call them African American because once you come to the US, you actually join the American experience. The e-commerce sales in 23 were $1.2 trillion, and that's available. The other factor that is very important is household. You got 131 million households. So for those African entrepreneurs who are selling spices, they're selling food, they're selling items that are cosmetics, they're selling items that are like shea butter, palm oil, etc., etc. There are 480,000 wholesale distributors. It's a huge market, huge. And that's why you very frankly need guidance because you can get lost. So one of the things that I've done is, and I'm not going to show them all today because we really don't have the time, but let me tell you what I've done preparing for today. I know exactly each category that we discussed with Nima in the past month with over 120 African entrepreneurs. And so when I spent the time, I looked at, okay, I say, what is, for example, herbs and spices? What is actually the global market for herbs and spices? Then what is the United States market? And what are the imports in the US? I've done it for spices. I've done it for cosmetics. Look at the numbers. For example, in the US, cosmetics, $62 billion. Now, let me give you this. If you design, I met someone about maybe 2 weeks ago, I think, Catherine, that designs and sold in Africa and some in the EU, in Dublin, shampoo. Shampoo for African women is different because the component of the protein of the human brain varies. So there is a special product. Think about your market for shampoo in the US is 42 million African American potential buyers. It's huge, huge. So, and come in as fast as you can. So we got cosmetics, we got palm oil, we got organic cereal. By the way, this was to me very amazing because today our children do not eat healthily. And when I spoke to these African women who were selling organic, healthy cereal, I said, you got to come to the US. And I'm asking Nima to really go back and make sure she's part of the team to come into the US. Then we got dairy and cheese, we got shampoo and hair care. All these, I have information, I'll send them to you. That's why the CEO at coachingprofessor.com is important because you send the request or the global chamber, and then I'll send you portion that apply to you. So now we go back to the ways. People talk about exporting, but there are actually 7 to 8 different ways that you as African entrepreneur woman can actually enter the US market. Too fast, too short today to get into the deal of everyone. But again, send an email and I'll send you this chart. This chart is so important. The pros and cons of exporting, for example. Exporting, easy to start, small initial investment, little on the planning. But the cons are the fact that you have trade barriers, you got tariffs, you got quotas, you got local production that can become your competition. And then you must really understand the knowledge of export legislation. That's why we created with Nima 3 months programs. The first month is about planning to enter the US market. The second one is bringing product to the US market. And the third one is how to become rich and famous. These are currently some by AGOA organization that looks at the African growth development opportunities in America. And you can see that these are sectors that are already working in Africa. So agriculture, fishing, food products, manufacturing, oil and gas, and retailers and wholesalers. These are all areas that can be developed by you guys. Now, going back now to which one are the highest selling African products in the US? Food, finished product, craft, black soaps, etc., etc. Again, I'll send this to you via email. Just ask for it. So, what are the major challenges to enter the U.S.? Guys, you need help. I came here in '68 from Italy, and for the first 5 years, I just floundered. I really did not know what I was doing, and finally got adjusted to the U.S. culture. And Mr. Liu will talk about how do you make cultural adjustments later on in today's program. But these are the blocks to enter the U.S. Government regulations on products that need to be imported in the U.S. Here you have 3, 6, 8, 9, or 10 of them. Now, when you go into it, like for example, the process with the CBP, which is Custom and Border Protection, is not trivial. And we have done it before. And let me show you basically the outcome of that. This is we become, for example, if we were to do this for you, and again, the program the first month is $200 for the month, nothing compared to this. And if you want to have your product classified at the custom so you can fast go through it, you ask us to become your temporary agent. We don't want to be your agent, but temporary agent. And we'll talk to them and will make sure you get this extremely important document. Without this, your product will not enter the US market. So don't waste time, money, and effort to send it in. You got to have this classification. Then when we're talking about the FDA is probably one of the most complicated organizations controlling the health of people in this country. Not simple, not trivial. It can take anywhere between a month to 2 or 3 months, or it can take a couple of weeks. Let us know and we can help you out. So remember, regulation is so important. Then the other element that you have, for example, the cost. The cost for the FDA, if you only do what we think we can do for you in getting your permit to get in the US, sometimes it's $100 to $500. But let me give you the average time that the FDA takes to qualify medical class 2 devices in the US. 3 to 4 years, and an average between $2.5 to $5 million. So it's not trivial. FDA is very difficult to enter. You got to know where you go. Otherwise, if they reject you, then it takes you 2 or 3 months to go back and make a new application. So really very important. My suggestion, either us or someone else, ask for help. Don't try to do it directly because it won't work. Finally, the nutrition. Well, many of you that I spoke to in the last month have a lot of like a cinnamon, you got butter, you got palm oil. Well, no matter what you do in the US, you got to be compliant to the FDA requirements for labeling. If you don't have a label that complies, your product will not enter the US market. So now that I overwhelmed you and I scared you to death, the solution is here. We have done it for 50 years. So just let us help you. And so many of the other people that you hear today, Sarah and Patrizia and some of the others already are familiar with this. We'll help you on this here and you. So how can you overcome the difficulty of the US market? You need guidance. Now, what we've done with NEMA, we decided to offer what I call 3 months, whereby the first month, we basically do planning, application to any organization they want to let you in, research what's your target market. So if we help you do anything you can at the price which is not to be believed. Typically, the fees that we charge clients for the first month account entry is $10,000 a month. Your fee, because of NEMA negotiation power, is $200. Nothing. So 1 month, 2, instead, we start exporting. You start delivering, you start selling. And the month 3 is very important, is how do you grow? And we look at those 7 methods to enter. So again, it's been a pleasure. These are details that I cannot give you today because it doesn't take you too long. Please enter your question and answer in the chat room. And thank you so much on behalf of Coaching Professors, on behalf of the Global Chamber, and on behalf of me, NEMA. And please, Doug or Cesar, if you find any questions that the group can have, this is with the time that both Sarah and I can actually answer the questions. Okay, I see Stephanie, they raised their hand. Monty, okay, let me just click on this here. Let's see. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Monty, yes. What is your, first of all, welcome to
Yes.
our group. Monty, what is your
Okay.
question?
Thank you very much. Please, it's an error. It's not a question, please. Thank you very much. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you for thanking. It's so important that what we do, we help you, because Africa has got some incredible potential for making so good in the US that is just incredible. So we're just waiting for you. We just gotta go through those steps. So if there are, okay, I see Somanti, you've got the hand up. Okay, so Nima, welcome back. I'll give you back the control of the room.
Thank you very much, Prof. We have very bad network nowadays in Tanzania for the past 3 days, so I'm very sorry. Thank you very much, Prof. I've heard much in your presentation, and it's very enlightening that there is hope that we can expand our markets to the US and also to other, even to the European countries. So I would like to, I've seen one question that Sarah has already answered. I don't know, I would like to ask Caesar to help me if there's any other question in the chat box, because I cannot access it well because of the network. Please, Caesar, could you please help me? Thank you. Or if he's not around, if there is no any question in the chat
I
box,
see
or
the questions for Sarah. I'm just checking the chat, but I don't see anything else right now for Professor Ansis.
okay, thank you. Is there, if there is any question from the audience, I would like to hear. There's so much to ask about.
I see,
regulations.
sorry to interrupt, Nima. I see Lucy
Yes.
raised her hand. Lucy, I don't know if you want to ask a question. Yeah. Feel free to ask a question, Lucy. You're on mute, just in case, yeah.
Yes, my internet connection has been shaky. Like Nema said, we have an internet problem here in Tanzania, but I hope Professor for the enlightening access market. Hello?
Lucy, wait, it's breaking up. So if you can make the question, put the question in the chat, that would be great.
Okay, so I wanted to know about, is it the same process for us who are in manufacturing? Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can now,
ma'am.
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
is it the same process for maybe someone like me who is in manufacturing, because I make reusable sanitary towels?
So what is your question, Lucy, again?
If I reusable sanitary, talk about the herbs and the spices.
Nima,
Prof, yes, Lucy is asking that she's in manufacturing and she's doing reusable sanitary pads. Is it the same process that she has to go through?
yeah, okay, thank you, Nima. Okay, Lucy, the
To
market
enter
for
the US market?
the market for sanitary product is a huge market, not only here but in the world. The only thing is, when you bring your product to the US, if there is any claim of what your product can do, it has to go through an FDA approval. So let me give an example. If you bring to the US products that are called over-the-counter products, OTC as they're called, over-the-counter product, OTC, they do not require FDA approval for entry. but require a labeling requirement for what it is. The secret is that is the lowest amount or the less amount of claims on the label, and the lesser the FDA will require you for you to spend money in testing and everything else. So the entry from Africa for OTC product, make sure to write it down, Lucy. The product for OTC products is an open market and is a tremendous market. Now there was another question also here that I've seen for me from Penina Nangula. It says, "Thank you, Professor Ansis. It requires a lot of financial investment, which can be a bottleneck to women in Africa." And I talked to that about Nima for a lot. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who want to penetrate the US market? Nima and I are now conducting a study in terms of what finances are available for African women entrepreneurs to come to the US market. What I found out as of now, the current Congress has approved 3 years ago an act of Congress that allows for funding of $10,000 to $100,000 for each African entrepreneur woman to enter the US, as long as they're registered in Africa and as long as they can prove that they've been in business for 5 years. However, that carries also diversification. You can ask for an exception. So Neiman and I are looking for 3 different areas. US money to help you, United Nations trade assistance to help you, and third is the African Development Bank assistance to help you. And Nima is going to be creating a new webinar workshop only talking about how can we get money to support you to come in. Please look at Nima's WhatsApp group, and we'll let you know when that happens, and then we'll give you all the answers.
Thank you very much, Prof. We would like to move forward. Doug, do you want to continue introducing the next year? Samuel Masele, they are in the call, and I think they'll drop their LinkedIn. Please drop your LinkedIn accounts in the chat box. Thank you.
And Nima, who do you want to go next? Do you want to go Patricia or Mr. Liu to go next?
Oh, Patricia, please.
Awesome. So I would like to give a very brief presentation for an outstanding woman. Not just because she speaks Italian, which is my language, right? But because she's so competent. She's incredible. She's brilliant. She's creative. And she's got a new company that she created as a co-founder called Finscope. With AI, she's created a program that is absolutely awesome. And the future for that program, with a little bit of tweaks, can be absolutely fantastic in the US. So she's an entrepreneur herself from South Africa. And she, instead of just talking about it, she's taking action. So she is an example of what you, African entrepreneur here today, can become as soon as you start taking the action that she recommends. Patricia, your floor.
Thank you so much, Professor Ansis. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for having me. Nima, you as well, you are amazing. So just to start, okay, first of all, I'm going to share my presentation. That's number one. And then we can begin the discussion. Can you see my screen at the moment? You can. Okay, great. Okay. So before I start discussing how we can harness AI for global business, what I would like to just say is that, you know, we all, with AI and the technology we've got a level playing field. No longer the days like the Coca-Colas with the millions of dollars in marketing and, you know, the little man gets left behind. We've now got technology available at our fingertips. Of course, we've always got to verify and go to business experts in the field. You can't just take what what's on what's on an AI platform, but you can use it in ways to assist you in expanding your business. So saying that, I had been given Nima wanted me to chat about financial management and governance. And then we slotted in some other things. So it's going to be a brief presentation about investing in the future and financial literacy. And it's a little bit of a of a mixed box of whatever subjects were left to discuss. But starting with financial decision making, how do we utilize AI for predictive analytics? And we use it by ensuring that we basically get the added insights, get the decision making, get informed decision making, and improve our outcomes. And also by automating our routine, financial tasks. This helps us because it frees our time as a business to rather think strategically, whether it's strategically in your financial planning or analysis, or just your business strategy as a whole. So, and also it enhances risk management, of course, because it identifies and it assesses the potential risks by aiding in the development of the effective risk management strategy. So that said, how do we empower ourselves with financial literacy and education by using AI? And this is where I always say there's so many tools that we have available. Apologies, I've gone forward. And we can use it by, it provides us, AI can guide you with advice that you would need and resources that you need for individuals or as a business to make those decisions better if you are on your financial literacy journey. You can do this we've got so many AI-powered platforms that can offer interactive and engaging financial education. And then, of course, you've got access to tools that can make the financial management decisions and just take you to that next level where you need to be. We move on to governance structure and risk mitigation and how AI can help you in this sense. And I just want to move this. Sorry, it's bugging me. Apologies. I'm trying to just move this across to the top, then it's not in my way. There we go. So how do we optimize the decision-making process? And this is, again, by using the predictive analytics that AI has, because they provide you those valuable insights for your strategic decision-making. And also by doing that, it optimizes your governance and risk assessment. If you implement the risk assessment models that AI has to offer, it will enable your business to assess and mitigate those risks more effectively, and it also enhances your governance practices. And by leveraging AI for your regulatory compliance, the way you can use it is by AI can monitor your regulatory changes, no matter what legislative changes your business has to abide by, and make sure that you comply to. You can adapt it and just monitor the changes so that you can adapt your business and ensure that you're up to date with your compliance and your measures that you have to protect your business. And now my screen is frozen. There we go. So again, for governance structure and transparency and accountability, how do we do this? We can do this by implementing those AI tools so that your business can analyze those large volumes of data in real time. And this will enhance your transparency and, of course, ensure that you've got accountability and governance. By automating your monitoring of the regulatory compliance, you reduce your risk for non-compliance and you enhance your governance structure. And then leveraging AI can also be beneficial for fraud detection and prevention, because AI can detect those patterns indicative to fraud activities, and this aids in your risk mitigation for your business and strengthening of governance decisions and mechanisms. Now we go to enhancing efficiency and cost management. So how do we use this with regards to cost management in our business? And again, AI here can automate your routine tasks. So it assists you in reducing your operational costs and enhancing your governance structures. And then for predictive financial analysis, you can use it for providing you accurate predictions, aiding in cost management, resource allocation, and this also helps you with your improved governance. And then maintaining of financial systems. AI can enable your financial systems by minimizing the downtime, optimizing the cost management, and again, assisting with your governance framework. Now, an important thing for, I think, all of us, but, you know, women have, you know, women are, for all of us in general, women and men alike, we run our businesses, but then we forget to invest and plan in our future. And the way AI, you can use AI to do this, to assist you, if you're not that au fait with these, you know, whether it's financial management or whether it's investments or governance or whatever it is that you're looking at, financial literacy, how you harness AI for specifically here for smart investments. You take the data-driven investment decisions and you reduce the risk and you enhance your returns because AI can analyze your trends, your market conditions, your financial performance. AI enables you to be more strategic and make sure that your business looks at the long-term business goal and not just short-term in surviving within your business. How do we empower growth through AI-driven financial planning? We can do this by using AI for automated budgeting, forecasting, cash flow analysis. These are all tools that entrepreneurs have available for them to make sure that they can have a look at their financial health, making it easier to scale operations and allocate resources, or just planning a sustainable growth. And then, of course, leveraging AI for market expansion and competitive edge. And again, please, I'd never want you to think that AI is your only solution. We've got experts for a reason. You know, if we have a medical issue, yes, you can look at AI and get your, you know, get your sort of answers, but always make sure that you research and you speak to the experts that your business requires. But again, here, leveraging AI for market expansion and a competitive edge, the AI will help you identify the new market opportunities, and it optimizes your customer engagement strategy. And this is done by basically your market analysis, by doing market analysis and customer insights. And of course, any entrepreneur, we've got men on this call as well as women, so I don't want to not include everybody, but the way you expand your business in leveraging AI, you know, using AI is it allows you to stay ahead and better understand your needs and then your customers' needs. And then lastly, but, and I went bullet happy, so please apologize all the little bullet bubbles that I've got on the side. But how to assist with global expansion. There's just a few points where AI can assist you. And the ones that stand out are market research. You can definitely use AI to help you identify the trends, the customer preferences, your competitors. Predictive analytics help forecast demand and spot your growth opportunities as a business. You can use it as a business model evaluation tool. So it assesses your product potential in your markets. It provides insights on local consumer behavior. It can help you with expansion strategy. And again, never taking away from the experts, but just understanding what it's all about. and just getting your foundation questions answered. You can optimize the market entry by analyzing what your costs, logistics, your risks, and just ensuring that your resource allocation in your business is where it should be. And of course, we've said it a few times in the presentation, AI helps you reduce those manual, allocated, repetitive tasks so that you can focus on your strategic side rather. Local network and compliance, again here, it automates the understanding of the local regulations that your business needs to comply to and can identify ideal partners through machine learning. Operational efficiency, it optimizes supply chain, predicts inventory, automates cash flow forecasting to support your business growth. And of course, digital solutions. AI will automate marketing and enhance customer segmentation. And of course, you can have support through chatbots, to assist you in your journey. But as I mentioned in the beginning, we are at a point in history where we've got the technology at our fingertips, and you don't have to be a Coca-Cola anymore. You can be a startup and just use the technology you've got at hand to assist you in making better informed decisions and minimizing those manual tasks so that you can focus on your business strategy. So I hope that is helpful. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, with pleasure. My email address is on the screen at the moment. And I just want to thank you all for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I believe now the next speakers of the campaign, Mr. Liu. Mr. Liu sent us a presentation last week, which was so impressive. And when the opportunity came, I sent him an email, said, please help. And so he's here today. Mr. Liu, you're very welcome. And there's not enough. All I can tell you is anybody who is listening today, make notes. Because one of your success in the US is going to be the adjustment to the US mentality, to the US consumer, and to the US culture. And that's what Mr. Liu is going to be addressing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. And thank you, everybody, for inviting me. And I see many familiar faces here, Dr. Christina, Rika, Pauline. And also I see some new friends here. I noticed that Catherine Adowa from Uganda, just so you know, that Uganda is the first country I've been to Africa many, many years ago. And many of you might not know this. On the Uganda flag, there's an animal of the crane, their national bird, the crane. So it's the only country in the whole world has animal on the national flag. So yeah, we have a friend from Abuja as well, from Nigeria. Yeah, we don't have time here now, otherwise I can tell you a story I had in Abuja that there's something money just can't buy in Abuja. So without further ado, I want to share with you some of the thoughts with you. Like Professor said, there are a lot more to learn in adjusting to the American culture. So I want to highlight a few issues here. Let me just see if let me share my screen. Can people see the screen? Yeah?
Yes,
Good. Give me a
yes.
shout. Excellent. So I want to talk about a little, what's the cultural barriers for African business women and men, for that matter, doing work in the US, and also to highlight some strategies. So what's been said by the previous speakers are very important, very key, so-called hard knowledge and hard skills. So what I'm sharing here is about a set of soft skills, soft knowledge. So I remember Doug mentioned a book recently actually, last few months, called When You Meet a Different Culture. The question is, how do you know if you need to shake hands, hug, or kiss? So this is what it's about. So when you come to do business in the US, whether in person or through virtually, so you need to know how to deal with a different cultural mindset. I want people to just share a few thoughts here. What would you see or are you experiencing in the key cultural barriers so far? Just feel free to shout out that when you, from the African business perspective, or as a person dealing with American colleagues, the counterpart, what are some of the cultural barriers so far? Just feel free. It's no right or wrong answer. We just want to share a few thoughts. No thoughts?
One of the things that I know we're doing a lot, I have a lot of students in my classes for years, is the issue of the difference between men and of gender internationally. And the America is one of the freest country in the world where men and women are the same in terms of how they are behaved, how they are rewarded, how they are appreciated, and everything else. But certainly it's not the same in other countries.
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, that's one thing. The issue of equality. Yeah. Anything else? Right. So that silence, to some degree, highlights the cultural differences. I think our friends here from African countries. Yeah, carry on.
There's some.
Hello. Okay. We can't hear you. Let me move on. If you have any questions or comments, do put into the chat box. And
Yeah, there's someone.
One of the comments, Mr. Liu, was from Margaret, is the dress code. An African-American woman has to conform.
Yeah, so dress code, yeah, it's one of them. Thank you very much. So definitely that's one of them. My screen is not moving. Right. So I want to share with you the 4 issues here: the communication style, the time perception, hierarchy and decision making, and negotiating the contract. So these 4 are very important for people to wear when you come from the African culture into the dealing with the US culture. So in the African culture, you are dealing with so-called the indirect or high context culture. The people are less kind of very polite. You're talking, going around in a storytelling culture. So, but when dealing with US counterpart, they want things to be mentioned, precise, clear. So people might be shocked to see that actually that either the verbal or written communication that is very direct can be perceived as not very polite. So just be aware. But what they want is actually to be clear and precise, and it's very a very business-like if you want to see it that way. So from the African perspective, please don't feel that be offended very easily. And likewise, from the US side, I think try to understand the different culture that people needs to know. Yeah, from the African perspective, they want to communicate to give more context versus straight to the point in the communication style, both verbal and in writing. I have example that we had a report, like a work meeting, one of a Nigeria colleague. We said, can you tell us what is the outcome? You went to Abuja with a lawyer. So this gentleman just started talking about from the moment he got out of the car, I had breakfast, I had shake hands with the lawyer. So the whole story And after several minutes, and then the person who chaired the meeting, who is from the UK, just said, "Okay, can you just tell me what is the outcome?" So this is what I mean by communication style. So be aware, there's difference there. Another is about keeping people updated. So one common pitfall is when you are thinking about, or you said you agreed, next Monday I will tell you what my proposal would be, but then next Monday comes, you don't tell people in the US side, then people wondering what's happening. But then when they chase you, you say, "Oh, I'm just carry on talking with our team. We haven't decided yet." That leads to my second point about time perception. So in the US, people use this time called linear time. So it's very uh, divided by very small unit, so one point after another. Um, while in the African context, African culture is a flexible time, so things happen just in a flow. That means when you agree with deadline, when you agree with the meeting time, it's very important to follow that with your US counterpart, because if you don't do that, that can be viewed as not trustworthy. People have very low tolerance when it comes to the meeting time and the deadline, particularly when you only just started dealing with the new people in the US. So that is very important. So because I know that I had meetings in African countries with a 9 o'clock start. People started to come in as late as 11 o'clock. So that cannot happen because you might notice that sometimes people will book 15 minutes meeting. So that again can be quite a cultural shock for African cultures, like 15 minutes, you give me 15 minutes. I can't even start. So that's something to really bear in mind, how to adjust to the time perception and deadline, very important. Hierarchy and decision making. So the African business setup or overall culture is very hierarchical. What it meant is that you might find that your US colleague, they view the hierarchy differently. They are viewing it as very functional, meaning when you have business dealing, the US counterpart might go directly to your subordinate or your team member just to solve the problem. But then you might feel offended, say, "Oh, I'm the boss. Why didn't you tell me?" From their point of view, it's a problem-solving issue. So they don't see it that important. So that is a constant kind of a clashing point, if you like. We have that with the UK and the African colleagues as well, because one of the comment from the African colleagues said is, why do these UK people, European people, keep writing to my staff without telling me? This is like people coming to my house, have a drink in the lounge, and start cooking in the kitchen, and me as the household head of the house have no idea who's coming, who's going. So I think it's important for both sides to be aware that the different style when it comes to hierarchical and decision making. I think the decision making in the African country is more of the head needs to decide, but then in the US, it's more of a consensus. It's more democratic decision making. So that's one thing. The another thing is for negotiation and contract. So in the negotiation contract, I actually just saw a little video on TikTok. They said when you go to look for a job in the US, people ask you, what can you do? When you go to look for a job in the European country, they say, what is your qualification? And then if you look for a job in African countries, people ask you, who sent you? So that kind of highlights the different view on the emphasis of the relationship versus the evidence-based approach. So in order to have a strong proposal, you need to have strong evidence. That's what Professor Ansis can help with. You need to demonstrate you have good products, but with clear evidence demonstrate that. It's not just because, oh, I'm introduced by Professor Ansis, or I'm introduced by Doug. Therefore, you will know, you know me, that we are relationship-based culture, but the counterpart in the US might not take it that way. So they want to see hard evidence. And please don't feel offended by that. So they will ask very hard questions about your products and then about your contract, hard negotiation, because for them, it is really a technical exercise. While for the African culture, Asian culture, similarly, people might feel quite pushed, thinking that, oh, does this mean you don't like me? You don't like me as a person? To be aware, there's a separation of you and your business and your product. So people like you or not like you, or it's different from whether they like your products or service. So be aware of that, so that you are going into a negotiation contract with that mindset, and then just try to not to be offended quite easily. Yeah. Some tactics, I don't know.
Mr. Liu,
Yeah.
talking about time, with all the, we asked everybody who's attendees for your forgiveness. Mr. Liu's presentation is so powerful and so interesting. They were extending the end of the program. We're supposed to end at 10 o'clock, but it's 10:07. He's okay, Mr. Liu, you got as much time as you need to complete. Your presentation is very powerful and intriguing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Apologies for interrupting.
Thank you very much. And I only have 2 more slides to go. For some reason, my screen keeps getting short. Frozen, sorry. I think very briefly, the way to tackle this is really, it's about to move from the what you don't know to what you know you don't know, and then learn about it. Simple like this. And these are the few things we can do, is to provide training, building relationships, and really people mentioned about the dress code and adapting to the business practice. All these will take time, but most importantly is actually if you have the willingness to want to learn. What I always say to people when it comes to cross-culture communication, working together, it's like driving on a different side of the road. Some country drive on the left, some country drive on the right. And all you need to know is that to understand now why I am now with this culture, which side of the road are you driving on? Then I need to adapt and adjust accordingly so that I don't get run over. Similarly, there's always common ground for people to communicate. Like I like this photo I choose. These 2 business women, 2 ladies sitting there talking, maybe negotiating a contract, but they both have the love for the high heels. So maybe one's wearing Jimmy Choo, another is wearing Louboutin. I don't know. But these are the things actually you could use to build relationships. Another thing very important is to leverage global networks like the Global Chamber. This is a great way to help you to build that connection, to build the understanding, both the hardware and also the knowledge to do so. I will stop here. This is really insightful for people to hear this. Like I say, the huge amount of things people can learn and need to learn in order to work cross-culturally. And we only touched the if you like, the headlines of those issues. And I'm looking forward to work with any of you who would come to a global chamber, work with all of us, the speakers, and we are here to help you. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. And the slides will be shared afterwards. I already shared with Doug and Cesar. Thank you very much for giving me more time.
Mr. Liu, thank you so much. Powerful. Any question for Mr. Liu?
And please, ladies, I want to see your reactions. I've not seen your reactions for speakers today. We want to show the African way, the way we react in the slides. Have you learned something? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see.
Okay, with Dr. Ajibola Ghani has got their hands up. Oh, they're crying.
Yeah.
So, Nima, we have extended the time of the presentation because today it was so powerful and it was so so assistant. And don't forget, there are two things we want to leave you with. One is that we have a 3-month program that the fee for which is just we are ruining our business by putting on the internet the fees, but but it is powerful, it is useful, and many of the people who are here today speaking, actually say all of them. I'll make sure to invite them back to be participatory in that program because they can teach you so much. They can be helpful for you. But please, there is one suggestion I give you after 50 years in the US. One of the secret of my success is do today what you need to be done today. Don't do it tomorrow. So if there is an interest for you in coming to the US, come today, because you never know what the tomorrow comes about you, your business, the world, the peace, the war, who knows? So I'm really suggesting. And then the next event is going to be very much so. And I know you guys need it. We are working assiduously to create solutions. And in Patricia and Mr. Liu and Sarah, if you have, and Dr. Crawford and Dr. Walker, if you have any suggestions in terms of how to help African women financially, they would be very useful, because we're going to have a webinar on how do we finance the effort of African women who need assistance to come to the US with a wonderful product. So Nima, do you want to close the business? I want to thank you. I want to thank Doug. I want to thank Cesar. I want to thank the Global Chamber. Guys, you're super. You're exceptional. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. Nima, your call.
Yeah, thank you very much, Menhiot. And we have a lot to think in. That's why we are only reacting. This is how we appreciate when you see in the chat box. But I would also like to call upon, we have women from different countries in Africa. And please, if you want to join Global Chamber, please just inbox me. I would welcome Doug to close, but also he will be talking about how we can join Global Chamber for Tanzania. I'm the executive director for Global Chamber Tanzania. And if you want to join us, please just inbox me, and I've sent the group chat, so you'll have my number also in the group. So it is very important to be in the networks like this. I have very good testimonies for myself since I've joined Global Chamber. It has been just 2 months, but it has been wonderful. I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot. I've met wonderful people. So I would like to urge everyone, it is for men and it is for women, it is for young boys and girls also. That is, I'm talking about youth. So it is a very good platform to be. We have seen there are a lot of experienced people. And also Sarah will be, we have a project coming up with Sarah and also Patricia. We have a very good project for women entrepreneurs to leverage on AI. So please stay tuned. And I would like to welcome Doug. Please welcome.
Is been disconnected?
Okay. If Doug is not around, well, Caesar, do you have anything to say? Like a close up and how people can join Global Chamber?
Sorry, were you talking to me? I got my hearing aids in. Sorry about that, Nima. I've been in the Global Chamber months now and met so many amazing people here, Prof, you, Lulu. I think it's an amazing platform, and I think especially going across the world, the cross-cultural element. I'm British, living in America, I've been in Malaysia, and I'm coming to England soon, We're going to meet up, okay? It's very important to mix personal energy with corporate energy, with financial energy and AI energy. For me, it's also about and having talked to many women in Africa, men as well, but the women in Africa are incredibly powerful. And I think that united, that women in Africa can really make a difference with women everywhere else in the world. But the strength of character in Africa is outstanding. So just so you know that. And especially with the entrepreneurial side, it's very much important that we actually understand that there's never underestimate the value of life's experience, especially for women. And that's what I share with Entrepreneurology. And I would love to do some more work with you about that. And we'll have a webinar on that. But meanwhile, I'm doing a webinar on my gender dynamics intelligence. So make sure you come along on October the 10th to the sales roundtable, do my own pitch there. But Nima, we will talk very soon. And Patricia, thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just to say that one last thing is that the first best opportunity to join the Global Chamber was yesterday. And the second best opportunity is today. So take the good opportunity.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, guys. We truly appreciate it. Nima, you're a champ.
I would like before we close, I would like to call Sarah. Sarah, can you say something? The last words, please.
The last words. Oh my gosh, that's big pressure here. Well, thank you so much, Nima, and everyone for having us here. It was a really amazing presentation from everyone. Great speakers all around. It's great to bring us all together and supporting each other, right? Supporting women, supporting in business on a global scale. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming together today and continuing to lift each other up and supporting each other in business. And so I'll close by saying thank you all so much for the presentations today, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And now we're going to say bye because Prof has given us a takeaway. So bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you. Madam, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Likewise.
Thank you all. Thank you, Neema. Alaikum salam.